What's up? How's it going? Back after a little bit of a break, a spring break. Slowly getting back into the regular routine. I don't know what it is. It's, spring is springing. It's pollen is blowing around. Maybe that's why I don't know. I've been sleepy. I've felt sleepy for the last few days, and I'm guessing maybe it's just a little bit of that seasonal allergies. I don't know if any of you guys have that problem, but I'm feeling pretty mellow today. So it won't be too crazy. We're going to have a nice mellow time. That's what's going to happen. Live Society's here. Sean Hodgson. Acid Bat. Orale. Martin Crockett is asking for a track ID. I'm guessing for the last one. That's an old one on my CSM label. It's called either Remember or Recollect, depending on what record it's on. I don't know. If you look on my Bandcamp, it's called Recollect. Yeah. Let's see. We got Farning81 on Twitch. What's up? We got DJ Feo. Welcome back. Netrunner is here. Future World Machines. Good evening. For some of you, it's evening. Here, it's afternoon. We got Henry de Carvalho from Paris. What's up? And Low Res from London. Nice. All right. This track. This is also an old track that was never released, and I don't know why. I think that needs to change. Nice after hours-y kind of groove, or a daytime, summertime groove, maybe. What do you think? Should I put it out? Let's just listen to that for a minute before we dive in. All right. Deep chords, that's right. Hey Mac, first time tuning in. Glad you're stoked. Glad to have you. All right. Bug Tank down on Lower East Side. Hey. Yes, New York is just exploding in pollen. At least I can breathe. Let's get to it. Welcome, everybody. It's John Selway here. Selway's Techno Saturdays on 343 TV, brought to you by 343 Labs Music Production School in New York City and Berlin and all over the world online. I don't know what it is. There's something. I'm feeling really out of it today. Being a little bit silly and a little bit dazed. So, we're warming back up into like I said, coming out of a break. I had an interesting break. I got back together with my band. I was in a ska band, ska and rock and punk and funk and soul and this and that, called I Spy. Really unique name for a really unusual name for a ska band, wouldn't you say? So yeah, we had a good time. We played a couple of days and wrote a couple of new songs, believe it or not. So musically, I've been in a completely different universe for the last several days, and getting back into thinking about making techno. It's definitely a switch. I've had a switch in my brain going from chord progressions and song structures and playing in a band and getting all the parts right, and then back to the computer. It's a different way of thinking. So yeah, that's the sort of thing that kind of comes up sometimes when in classes that we teach here at 343 Labs. How'd you like that for a segue, right? Going from my little story into into my spiel. But we do music production in general, whether you're using Ableton Live or Logic. I think that's usually what we're focusing on. And synthesis and sound design I do. We've got music theory, songwriting, and we're starting up a year-long program now. I don't know, it's kind of a new thing. It's a little deeper than what we've been doing before. and starting in the fall, and we're going to have kind of a more comprehensive program for those of you who really want to dive in and do this for real. So I'll have more. There's already info about that on our website. Take a look at that. We have all the links below in the description as usual. But just something to think about. I won't go on too much about it. As it's developing, we'll have more and more details. But you can get started looking on our website to see what we have, and you can kind of like register your interest and maybe send us an email or find out more in that respect. Man, I'm telling you, I am definitely still somehow waking up, even though we're starting a little later today. Let's make some of that music, John Selway. Yes, that's right, Sean Hodson. And who else is in here? Any other new names in here? No, it looks like everybody here has already been here. All right, I think you know what I need to do. I'm going to stop yammering on and switch over into music mode. And what I'm playing with today is Phase Plant. I've had Phase Plant for a while. I bought it. And I don't use it that much. And I don't, it's maybe just out of habit. I use a lot of the Arturia stuff. I use Pigments as like kind of my main modern synth. But I haven't done too much with Phase Plant. But since they just recently announced their new Granular module or whatever they call it, I thought, hey, let's check that out. Let's see how that compares to, what I usually use for Granular with Pigments. So, and I also was thinking about wanting to do something deeper and minimal and very hypnotic and very spacey. And I feel like Granular synthesis is a good, it's a good synthesis method to do that kind of thing. So that's exactly where we're starting today. Let's see what we got. Sean Hodson says, Phase Plant, never heard of this one. Yeah, Phase Plant is like, it's funny, like I feel like a lot of the people who use Phase Plant are not making techno so much. When I see tutorials for Phase Plant on YouTube, there's a lot of really like aggressive, crazy, wobbly, intense, whatever. But of course, a good synth can do anything, right? It's not genre specific. But it does seem to be it doesn't seem to be too common with techno. I could be wrong, but I think it's a little bit less common with techno. But whatever, it's a really amazing, powerful, it's like a synthesist and sound designer's instrument. Let's look at it a little bit more closely. So, this is just from default. Actually, let's load up another one so I don't mess up the sound that I've been working on. But, when you first load it up, it's empty. It's a bit daunting, right? Like if you load up Phase Plant, you've got generators, that's what they call it, modules. In Pigments, it has engines, right? It has 2 engines, and each engine can be different types of synthesizers, whether it's analog subtractive, or it's wavetable, or it's a sampler / granular synth, or the harmonic additive engine that it has. Phase Plant, though, you open it up and it's just empty, right? So, now of course there's presets, lots and lots of good presets. But yeah, when you first load it up, there's nothing there. So I feel like if you're a beginner, that might be a little bit daunting, but it's pretty cool. And you hover over one of these sections, generators, that's going to make sound or control the amplitude of sound, say like at the output with an envelope. You've also got some effects in there. And then we have our modulators on the bottom. Shape. And I like the way they have it organized. Once you get in there and look at it, you're like, oh, all right, shapes. That makes sense. Envelopes and LFOs are the main shapes, things that we use to shape the sound, right? MIDI expression inputs, it has an audio follower. There's a lot of really good utility in here, right? And then we have 3 lanes of effects. So you can do, and that's another really big part of Phase Plant's overall thing is just, you could just go crazy with effects. And all, of course, everything can be modulated, right? So yeah, but like I said, you know, I haven't used it that much. But if I wanted to make a sound, I'd say, all right, I want to do an analog bass or something, or load up a sample, or do a wavetable thing. You load up a generator. Right, and you know, as soon as you load up a generator, it gives you an amp envelope for that. And then you kind of have to think in kind of like in modular synthesis, you got to think about signal flow in order to get things going. Like there's no filter here. I don't want to turn this into a whole lesson on how to use Phase Plant. There's plenty of other videos out there that'll do a more comprehensive job of that. The way I usually learn about using new instruments is just to start making music with them and not get too into like, I'll just figure out things as I go. All right, so that's Phase Plant. And I'm investigating the Granular. New Granular element here. God, why keep a generator, the Granular generator. Let's hear what I've got. And, you know, literally I just dragged in semi-random a sample. Actually, let's hear what the sample sounds like. Let's see if I can find that again. It's called Droplets. Something from some folder here. There it is. I'm not sure that you hear that. Let's make sure you've got the cue out set up so that you can hear that. And I'm going to turn up my volume a little bit so I can hear what I'm doing. All right, so I thought that was kind of cool. Usually for granular synthesis, hey, enough. Usually for granular synthesis, you want to have a sound that has some variation in tone. So this has got this nice kind of clean, percussive note, but then it also has some noise and reverb in it. And it also has a bit of a pitch modulation. It's got that boop kind of drop effect. So even in a short sound like that, there's a lot of variation in the Granular engine to be subtle and to find little tiny changes to work with. All right, so that's where I started. And then I was thinking, you know, I wanted something kind of techno chord stabs, right? Put in a minor third, and then, you know, you can hear there's a syncopated rhythm in there already, but that's actually all coming from, most of that is coming from the Granular engine. Let me just actually change this. It's to its, you know, normally you're using Granular, you're hearing stuff like this, right? You're hearing these little grains repeating. All right, that's very granular, right? I like that. I like how this interface looks. I like how the grains look. They did a good job animating what's happening to the grains. It's not just showing you where and when the grains are, but it's showing you like the shape and amplitude and other things. It's pretty cool. Yeah, good job on the interface. Definitely, yeah. Future World Machine says nifty graphics. Okay. So that's something. You have the grain envelope here. Like each grain that we're hearing that's repeating has a length and a shape, and that's what's determined here by this milliseconds next to grain envelope. So now I'm making them shorter. It's more percussive. Can have more sustain. Actually, I have it sort of set up now like an attack, hold, decay. And I have a little bit of a longer attack, so it doesn't. You can hear when it's noisier, when it's the attack is at 0. We're hearing that artifact being created by the amplitude going from 0 to full suddenly. So I'm smoothing it out a little bit so it doesn't click each time. Although you might want that sometimes. All right. there's a little bit of pitch modulation, which sort of, you know, every time a grain plays, it's just randomly modulating the pitch up and down a little bit. And this is all basic granular stuff that you'd see on any granular synthesizer, granular engine. There's also random panning. Right now I just put it to 0, everything's in the middle, but as I increase that panning amount, you'll start hearing those grains bounce around left to right. And then also, as I'm moving the grain position around, so you hear different parts of that sample. There's that little blip at the beginning, that's crazy. There's a lot you can do just with this one little sound, right? Just moving it around. It's almost like 3 or 4 different sounds within that one sample. And the grains are all starting from the position and then randomly playing later from there. If I randomize the position, you'll start to hear a mix of different sections, different grains from different sections, all right? So again, this is all like pretty basic granular stuff that most granular synths can do. All right. So, and this, I was very happy to see that in addition to this, the typical kind of randomizing, not randomizing, but doing grains sort of in hertz, but like in very small amounts, you can also do note length values and time, like have synchronized grains. So I'm using it to do kind of a chopped up thing. And I've done this in Pigments before. So that's giving me kind of an echo-like effect. Sean Otson is asking if that is able to be automated by an LFO. And yeah, everything in this synth can be, almost everything can be modulated. I'm assuming, were you asking, Sean, about the grain position? The grain position can definitely be automated or modulated. So if I wanted to do that, I could take an LFO. All right, and I'm going to turn off the note trigger so that it goes continuously. It's not syncing every time I play a MIDI note. Let's slow that down a lot. And then let's click on that orange plus there, and then click the plus on the position. And then increase the amount of modulation. And yes, can absolutely modulate the position of that with the LFO. Let's move that back a little bit. I like this interface for setting the range of modulation coming out of the LFO. It's doing unipolar now. It's starting at 0 and going positive and then going back to 0. And that works really well in this situation because it's 0 is the start point. And so then you can easily set the range going from 0 to as far as you want it to go. Let's get a beat on this. Oh, I think we're soloed. Yep. There we go. All right, so I like this. I'm going to ease up on that automation, that modulation of the position a little bit. I want to keep it more tonal, a little less noisy right now. Nice to have a little bit of it coming in though. If I wanted these to be a little fuller, I can increase the length of the amplitude, of the peak of that grain envelope. I could also increase the length of the decay. If I increase the randomness of the position, it's almost a little bit too much noise right now. Let's dial back that modulation a little bit more. So another thing that can happen, and this is also similar to what I like about Pigments Granular Engine and actually all the pitch modulation in Pigments is that you can quantize it. They do it to a scale, right? And here you can when you modulate the pitch of the grains, you can quantize the grains to a chord. So it's a little bit different. So I've got that on. And right now the range is at 0, so we're not hearing it. Let's increase the range and hear what happens. Ooh. Just with that one thing, that's like a new section in my track, because it starts like this. I've got the tone changing because the position's modulating a little bit or randomizing a little bit. Let's say I wanted this to be more percussive. Let's see, I'm going to have a shorter decay. All right. Now, and then I bring that range amount up. I'm good with that. So right now it's just jumping up octaves, I believe, but it's all staying in a chord, in a major chord. And I don't know what key I'm in. I don't know what note that sample is. I don't know if this is C or what. I'm just following my ears. Let's throw in a hi-hat. So I find that, using the grain engine like this, I mean, it depends on the sample, sort of how loud it can get, but generally we're only hearing a couple of grains at a time. We're not hearing like a lot of grains stacked on top of each other. And it's usually the case with granular synthesis that it'll kind of be soft, and then you add lots of grains and it gets very loud, right? So in this case, it's kind of soft because we're only hearing a couple of grains that are kind of cycling around at these that are synced to 3/16 or 3/16 notes, right? So I've got I wanted it to sound a little louder and a little brighter, so I've got a distortion on there, and that's actually how loud it is without just coming straight out of the granular. Let's turn that up a little bit. Yeah, and I think they have the gain set low on purpose because lots of grains start to get loud. Right, so just using some distortion to punch that up a little bit, and then some compressor to kind of get it popping a little bit. Hopefully the volume is okay out there for you guys. You can hear me all right. Bring down that volume just a little bit. Let's play around with the oh, whoa. Yeah, you can hear sometimes when the position goes to the very beginning with a little water droplet pitch modulation, it gets a little bit intense. And that's one of the reasons I have that compressor on there with a pretty fast attack. It's set to peak compression. So I want to kind of grab that. There's a limiter, because it does get a little too sharp sometimes. Gets pretty intense. And I bring the grain envelope longer. Speaking of release, you can hear when I let go, when I stop, there's a long release on the amp envelope. And if I just, what's happening is when I'm playing those different chord notes and they're overlapping. So it's adding extra layers. If I bring the release down, now you're not hearing the overlapping as much between the different chords that I'm playing. But if I increase the release again, it gets more complex. The lower notes and the higher notes are all kind of overlapping. A little bit too blippy sometimes. Let's increase the attack time on the grain envelope. Smooth that out a little bit. bring that position down a little bit. Bringing the grain envelope back a little bit. Let's hear how it sounds with a little bit more range on the chord pitch modulation. Just that tiny change is like another section of my track. I love it. I'm keeping this really, really simple. I don't think I want to layer too much. Let's hear how this sounds with some more effects. As if it isn't, it already sounds like it's got delays, that it's those individual synced grains, but I have another more dubby, typical kind of echoey feedback delay going on. Maybe a bit much. I just changed the tone so it's repeating less of the low frequencies. It's cleaning it up a little bit. Might be a little bit much on the limiting. Let's hear how it sounds also with the reverb. And I was kind of going back and forth, thinking the delay was a little bit too much. But just a simple dark reverb also kind of works well. It's a little cleaner. Maybe I'll just bring the mix back on the delay a little bit. I have some brighter hi-hats to bring the energy level up from here. What kind of music is this? I don't know. Tell me. We know what kind of music it is. We know exactly what it is. And I love how just tiny, tiny little changes make such a huge difference in how it feels. I mean, that's just what you listen for when you make techno like this. Bring that range up again. I feel like this could be the whole track. All right. I also added a flanger. I'm on the fence about this one. I really like the way they animate the effects and the modulation in Phase Plant. It looks really cool. Every now and then I look at a parameter, I'm like, what's scroll? They do a pretty good job of, they have a little tooltip, like a little description in on the bottom left every time. So the scroll enables the phase offset and motion functions of the effect. And I'm not sure what that does, but it sounds cool. All right, I need another hi-hat. I want just a upbeat. There it is. It's just the bread and butter. 909 hi-hat. Why not? No need to go any deeper than that. I'll put some effects on it, though. And I like to play around with velocities a little bit so they're not exactly the same. I don't know, it sort of bounces. really do like using multiple layers of hi-hats and high-frequency percussion. Even if it's real, like, it's quiet in the background, like the way it is now, right? We've got this louder 909 hi-hat, and then in the background, just this almost like a shaker. Automating that range. In Phase Plant, there's so many parameters, but pretty much most of them don't have automation lanes already. So you just choose. Like if I want to automate the range with Ableton, I would right-click on that, or I think, what is it? Yeah, it's right-click. And then assign to automation slot. Let's just do, I don't know, slot 1. And then that should be, now that that's assigned, I should be able to, yeah, there it is. I put it into configure here, and then just selected that parameter, and now I have. Very sensitive. Woo! What else do I need? What else? No, I'm serious. What else do I need? I could have just assigned that to a macro in Phase Plant and then scaled it if I didn't want it to go all the way up. Like I'm not ever going to go like that high. Or maybe I will, I don't know. We'll just leave it. All right. What should we do to this hi-hat to make it more interesting? What kind of effect? Let's do. Well, I'm using a flanger. And I'm using delays. I could use more of that. But any delay with an LFO, yeah, let's do that. Let's do overkill for this hi-hat. All right, so I'm gonna take it out of sync. And make it into a flanger. All right, changing the offsets. It's just a little bit, left and right are just a little bit offset. A very slow rate on the LFO. Let's do oh, that's a good idea. Let's do a 90 degree or 180 pitch. You're gonna hear like a rising effect. You're gonna hear that comb filtering from the delay. Right? Start rising up. Let's see if that works. That's trippy. I told you it was going to be mellow and kind of deep today. I kind of want to hear even more delay on that. Would that be a mistake? I'm going to compress it. Why? I don't know. Peak compression. Maybe not. I'm not going to do the makeup. Let's see. it's somehow like softening it up a little bit. And you know, the pitch of that sort of, it's like a lower frequency, almost sounds buzzy, like a sawtooth wave in a way. Whoop. That was accidentally awesome. Basically, this is car plus strong physical modeling going on with this hi-hat. Let's play with the filter in the feedback. Now the feedback's totally taken over. This is not Granular and phase plant anymore, obviously. Let's go back and play with phase plant. Man, I'm getting so lost in this. Let's ease up on that feedback. Bring some low frequencies in again. We get less of that howling in the mids. Here's our break. Maybe I just need I mean, would it be cheating just to put reverb on everything? I feel like that's cheating. I need something cooler than that. Not loving that. It's okay. Let's see what this is doing. Maybe it's just too much feedback. It's like, I gotta figure, okay, we're gonna stop there. I'm starting to get caught up in those effects, which I think actually you want to do. You want to do that. When you're making music like this, you want to get caught up in that atmosphere, in the space, and how deep and far out it goes. It won't shut up. Ah. All right, let's get rid of that feedback. How is everybody doing? A little bit past the halfway point today. I warned you at the top, this was going to be mellow, and it was going to be, yeah. And we went out there just now. There's some deep exploration into something. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Let's look for some new names in the chat, or at least some names that I don't see as often. 071 Decompression. Thank you very much. Love this channel. I really appreciate that. And you are absolutely welcome. I love it. I love doing it. We got Blur. We got Jan Kalinowski. Master Farce Theater. I think you've been here before, haven't you? Yes, I'm in my Zen mode and with this stuff. I'm just like getting lost in the sauce. Antonio Velasquez. Maybe some more triplet delay. Yeah, more delays. I'm fine with that. Totally. We got a request from Bug Tank for a phaser on the hi-hats. Do we need a clap on the 2 and 4? Master Farce Theater asks. Now, this isn't, I feel like a clap on the 2 and 4 is always a major decision when you're making techno. Because for me, if depending on the groove and depending on the sounds you're using, a clap can make it feel like you're slowing down. It can make it feel like it's laid back. So, or a snare on the 2 and 4, or anything on the 2 and 4. It kind of breaks up the groove. So, you know, listening to... Let's put that kick drum back in there. I'm going to get rid of the very distracting hi-hat for a second, which is more than a hi-hat now because of that effect. All right, let's put in a typical clap probably won't be exactly what I would go for in this case. All right, there's some like loops in here. I feel like if I was going to use one, I'd want it to be very tight and not too loud, right? And again, it doesn't have to be a clap. It could be a snare, it could be something. It definitely need to be not too loud. It's a taste thing. Because I'm feeling like it kind of interrupts what I like about it. The kind of rolling offbeat thing going on. Like I'd probably rather it be off too. And that sounds like it's wrong, but sometimes wrong is right. It's dangerous. It's making me want to put in more notes. That's kind of, yeah, so I like something like that better than just a straight 2 and 4. Or if the 2 and 4 would be a different sound. Like some kind of weird little blip or bleep or something. Let's do that. Wow, see, look at that. One question got me back in the zone. We're supposed to be taking a break. What else are you guys talking about? Master Farce Theater. Maybe a more static sounding clap like the one in Closer by 9 Inch Nails. I don't remember what that clap sounds like, actually. I'm going to have to go back and listen to it. Low Res says no clap, maybe a ride. Oh, I'm all about that. We all know, I think, if we're already making music like this, we probably, or listening to a lot of music like this, ride cymbals get a lot of play in techno. It's like it always works just to put this shiny, bright percussion on top of everything. Jan Kalinowski says, too much clap. Too much clap. Just because you said that, I'm going to put even more. I'm going to overdo it. I'm going to distort it. I'm going to totally go nuts on this clap. I'm going to put on, I'm going to do something funny with a filter. How about that? I don't even know why I'm doing this. Just to spite you. Auto filter has this funny thing where it'll when you modulate the filter frequency, it'll quantize to a note length. Do you hear it? It's going, listen to it by itself. It's going did-it. Like that filter frequency as it modulates up and down. We'll hear it even more if I like, all right, I'm going to put a vocoder after this. Why? To give it noise. Anyway, here it's stepping up and down, right? So yeah, when you put this quantize on, as you modulate up and down, even if it's not synced, it'll jump between the 16th note or 2 16th notes or 3. And if I offset the phase, we're going to hear different. It almost sounds random, but it's not. What have I done? Sometimes you'll hear it click when it goes from a low to high frequency all of a sudden. I really didn't mean for this to happen. I'm sorry. I kind of want to still, if I were to do this, I'm going to put these together in a chain and do that all wet and then give myself some dry clap to mix in with it. Probably I don't need to do this. Probably it's too much. What is happening? Sounds good with more delay on it. Is that even a clap anymore? It's just like rhythmic crazy noise now, right? Playing with the formants, shifting the bands up and down. Yeah, it's not just a clap anymore. I was gonna find something to try to put on the 2 and the 4. Let's go back to the main screen, because I seem to have just gotten completely lost in it again. Maybe something like a zap, I don't know. Something snappy. I feel like I need that phase plant needs to change a little bit. Bring in that open, the closed hi-hat again. I'm gonna get rid of that feedback for now. Turn down the noisy clap thing. Just make that a layer in the background. Now, what was I looking for? Seems to be missing some samples. There we go. All right, I want to go into these wave alchemy sounds that I like so much, into the percussion, into the pops. These are a little dinky, but I'll know it when I hear it. Something, maybe that'll work. Something like that. On the 2 and 4. Just going back to that original idea. Nah. Too hollow. Too woody. Try that one. So yeah, anyway, just going back to the idea of like a 2 and the 4 like being accented. On a groove like this, it couldn't be big. It would have to be tight. And then just on the 4 would be okay. Let's get rid of that crazy clap thing. That is a bit much. I might put like a reverb on this, just make it. Let's see. Boom. Thinning it out. What if it was sometimes offbeat and sometimes on? Maybe. I still want everything to be offbeat in this track. One or the other. Let's go back over to phase plant for a little bit. How will it sound now that we've added some other elements? How will it sound when I play around with this more? I like how it sounds when it's the tail of it, when it's quieter and noisy. In the middle, I don't love how much it sounds. It's like a little too much. And then this I like. But maybe if I go shorter on the decay of the grain envelope, more percussive, and move it around just right, that works a little bit better. I'm gonna have my work cut out for me automating if I finish arranging this ever. Yeah, gotta watch it with the noise on that, don't we? Okay. I'm gonna take another pause. It's Selway Techno Saturday. I told you it was gonna be a chill one, and that's what's happening. Getting deep into these weird little granular sounds and playing around with the effects on the percussion and trying to keep it simple. It's already starting to get more complicated with the effects and a lot of things happening at once. And in a way, like how it was sounding earlier with less I was enjoying it more. And I think that's going to be, that's always the battle, is like when to know when it's too much. With this kind of music where it's kind of minimal and hypnotic, you really want to be careful, I think. And, I'm already wondering, should I add another element to use in the arrangement or just keep it really stripped down and drums in this one sound, but like a lower frequency element or a more kind of a pad or something ambient to kind of add space or a drone or something. And, wow, you guys are having all sorts of crazy ideas in the chat here. Jan likes the tight clap. Thanks, Jan. And Event Horizon, welcome from South Korea. Glad to have you here. Kenneth McClenn says, ratchet the clap. No, I don't think we're going to ratchet in this one. I mean, at least, no. Maybe. I don't know. Lorez is saying, yeah. No more channels of stuff. I reckon just automation over time. Yeah, and I think I have enough that I could go in and like do kind of a rough arrangement, and then I do this all the time. Actually, I've done this on the stream before, where I'll record in real time, kind of a live arrangement where I just bring stuff in and play around with the parameters, automating whatever over a few minutes, and then I'll go back and I'll go, oh, all right, get some ideas for the structure, and then if I I'll know when I need to put in something, right? It's easier to know when you have kind of a rough structure to fill in. So yeah, I don't have to think of it all up front. That said, just to cap it off, I'm going to try to find an interesting sample and do something different with phase plant, and we'll just see if it, keeping with the concept of using Granular today and checking out the new Granular capabilities of phase plant. Let's bring in another one and see what we can do. And there's so many different ways you could go. Like I could do another kind of rhythmic choppy thing like that, or I could do something more like tonal and sustained and play notes. No guarantees this is going to work, but we'll see. Sean Hodson is saying maybe in 2 weeks you could arrange this. Well, yeah. That's a good idea. Let's do that next time. I'll come back and we'll actually make this into something. But for right now, let's see if we can't find an interesting sample to throw in Phase Plant, and then we'll wrap things up for today. So, you know what? One thing I wanted to check. This is a thing that bothers me with Pigments and also with Contact, Native Instruments sampler, is, and all right, Pigments is supposed to work with WAV files and AIF files, but a lot of the times when I bring in an AIF file, it gives me an error. And Contact just won't load up AIF files. You have to put in a WAV file, as far as I've experienced. But I forgot to check. Will Phase Plant just read any sample regardless of its format? Like, can you even, I wonder, can you drop an MP3 in there? I mean, that's asking for a lot. But let's see. We do something weird and noisy, like granularizing some kind of effect or drum sound or something. Whoa. That sounds awesome. All right. It's like noisy, but it has like a pretty chord in it at the same time. I don't know if that's going to work here. The granular thing might just kill it, but, and this is a WAV file. All right. I know it'll load up a WAV file. A lot of the samples in, okay, here's an AIF file. Let's, oi, what just happened? Undo. Oh, I accidentally double clicked on it. See, did you see that? It's the same problem. I drag in an AIF file and nothing. Why? Why is this a problem? Why are multiple plugin samplers in Granular Sense unable to load up an AIF file? Somebody tell me. It's such a pain. It happens all the time in class. I'm like, you have to take your AIF, convert it into a WAV, and then drag the WAV into Phase Plant. Can I just say this to all of the developers out there? Can you fix that, please? All right, enough. Let's go back to the cool. Granular. Oh, you know what? I just made a fool of myself. I forgot to load up the engine first. Okay, I take that back, Phase Plant. I take that back. And let's try that AIF file again. And then I still have the beef with Arturia and Native though. All right. No, look at this. I don't take it back. It will not load up the AIF file. That is just killing me. All right. There, okay, WAV file works. AIF doesn't. All right. I feel like we should edit this part out of the video after it's archived. And all right, last thing. Let's hear how it sounds. This sounds like in the Granular engine. Right. So, you know, the other sound, I did a little work on it first. Here, this is just the first thing that happens. Right. So we're hearing a lot of grains, or a bunch of grains. 4 grains, actually. And when it's not moving, you're hearing them. It sounds like you're just looping, right? It's got this kind of phasey thing going on. But when you move it, then you're hearing different parts of the sample. It sounds smoother. If I randomize the position, then you get that variation and smoothness again. Let's up the grains on this. It's going to get louder and go up to 30. Going to tax my CPU. The more grains you use, the more power you need. All right, and I've done this, granular synthesis is really great to make like a pad or a drone out of anything, right? That's exactly what's happening here. Let's do some reverses, and that'll give it some subtle sort of swells back and forth. We're gonna do panning, a little bit of pitch modulation. Timing, let's see what timing does. And that's pretty much going to make shorter, longer grains, as far as I know. Ease up on the reversing a little bit. All right, and then I feel like I need to filter this. From here on in, I'm just going to think about it as a subtractive sound. Into, man. You know what? I'm not going to mess with this, guys, today because it's after 2. We'll pick up with this another time. We'll forget that second sound. Let's leave with a little bit of music. And so next time, not 2 weeks from now, probably, maybe next time, we'll come back and start arranging this. Thanks, everybody. I feel like it was maybe not the best way to end the show, but thanks for hanging out and going along for the ride with me as I got a little weird and deep with the granular capabilities of phase plant and exploring phase plant a little bit. And, this was like me experimenting and, using a plugin that I don't use often and I need to use more. Seems like I got a good start of the track. Got some good comments from you guys, so thanks very much. And yeah, we'll finish it. We'll take this into the arrangement, and that's something that needs to happen more, I think, on the show is finishing tracks, right? I've done that a few times with Christian. He was on recently, where we're like taking an old track and kind of remixing it, rebalancing it to kind of polish it off. So glad you all we're hanging out today. I'm going to let you know now I may be doing some more Tuesdays, right? Been thinking about alternating. Let's see what you guys think about this. I know that there are people that can't come in on Saturday, can't hang out on Saturdays. So maybe like a Tuesday every now and then would be good. We can do a Techno Tuesday in addition to the Saturdays. So that may be happening. I'm also just, thinking about the summertime coming up and schedule changes and stuff like that. So just keep your eyes out for that. Got some guests lined up soon, right? When I have everything confirmed, I'll announce who's coming. We definitely need to do a techno feedback session. The Electra session with Carl was so great. And, I definitely want to keep that going, having different artists coming on to hang out and listen to your stuff. So I will announce that soon as well. And again, just to remind everybody that we're starting the new year-long program here at 343 Labs. So check out the links below, go to our website. And a nice thing about this year-long program is that it's either location. You could be in Berlin and take it. You could be in New York, you can take it, and online, and even go back and forth. So if you're traveling, right, you could sign up for the year-long program, do part of it in New York, part of it in Berlin, some of it online if you're away, right? The way the scheduling is going to be crazy, but the scheduling is going to work out so that we can do that. So yeah, you could start in the US and then maybe, in the summer you want to go travel, go to Berlin, live the techno life and continue the year-long course while you're there. So just something to think about. Check us out in the links below. Join the Discord if you haven't. And that's it for today. I'll see you guys next week. Adios.